This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys. Today I'll be covering Git and GitHub. As part of this today's training, right, I'll be going through all the Git fundamentals and some advanced Git commands, and also I'll quickly go through how GitHub is helps in terms of managing teams and collaboration work. Okay, let's get started. So. Uh, So first of all, what is Git? Before Git, right? First of all, you need to know what is version control tool. Okay, so imagine like in past, right, where people were uh, doing code changes and they didn't have a system or software or mechanism to track the versions. So what happens then is, so in past the people are like, okay, one guy works on one product and then he tries to complete within a 1 year, so he had to I mean, rarely worry about tracking the changes and things, right? But over the period, what happened was that the product is become complex. They're adding more features, more files as the complexity is going over. So they had issues like versioning of the file, kind of, okay, they don't know what is been going on, okay, and also they need to back up version multiple file systems manually in past. Then that is too much work, and also over the period the teams are who are developing the products are become more and more, right? So it's now uh, 5 people is to work on the same project, now hundreds of people across the globe. So they need a kind of solution which helps them to track the changes which is happened to the code. So that's where the version control system comes into picture. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can draw the diagrams today. Last time I had issues, so give me 1 second. Cool, I can draw that. Good, that's good. So now what happened was, so now the teams are working everywhere in India and also in US and also around the world, in Australia and everywhere else. So now people need to start versioning their code. So the files are like what, hundreds of files, thousands of files. So you need to version them in a proper way. So that's called a version control system. So you need a system which will help you to track the your files over the period. So then if you know, if you're tracking the file, you know who did the changes, what has been happened yesterday and what has been done today, and all these things. Okay, so the version control is a system that records changes to a file or set of files over the time, so that you can recall a specific version or later. So for example, right, so now there are hundreds of developers are working on the okay app, right, on the code. So they kind of, you develop like thousands of files. So one guy develops something and he checked in something to the Git or some other version control tool. So now we have a version what has been done. So it's, so you can now, you can go back to the previous state if something failing, or you can look at the entire project what has been released. So I mean, like last week or so and so week. Okay, so you can compare what has been updated from since yesterday and from since last week, or who modified, what is causing the issues and so on. So these are things which helps to solve, because a version control system is helping to solve all these problems. Okay, now I think slides are, I don't know, slides, what happened to slides, give me a second, guys. Now, so now let's talk about Git, right? Git is a now version control tool. Okay, so before Git, right, there are few tools like let me see if I can. Okay, okay. Before Git, right? So there are a lot of tools like which helps to version the code or version the tools, right? So now in past, right, there is a version control tools like CVS, SVN. These are two popular version control tools in past. So these are having some kind of disadvantages. Like what happens there is they kind of only you have SVN server or CVS server, and where the clients, right, what they do is they kind of work with that server and then try to get the versioning and all this stuff. So it interacts with this server. So when this servers fail, what happens is now you cannot do any power, you cannot do any version control operations. So you lose the complete the capabilities of version control tools. I'm not going to dig into that too more because unless until you guys have any questions later in the stage, I will go through that more detail. But for now, these are having this kind of issues. So these are centralized version control tools. So that's why these are having disadvantages. Now there's a guy called Linus Stewarts. What he did was he introduced Git, that is called a distributed version control system. So it became very famous over the period. So it was released in the first release was in 2005. Before they were using in-house for the kernel updates. They were tracking their kernel changes, the Linux kernel changes and all this stuff as part of their in-house project. And but later the stage they felt that okay, this can help the community much better. So that they released it in 2005. From that now, so now I think almost 90% of organizations are using the Git. So there are few other tools like similar to Git is called Mercurial and Perforce. They're also quite popular, but now very less people use it. But they're also pretty much same as Git. They have the same features as Git, but Git is more popular with the additional features. Okay. Now having said that, right, let's go back to what is Git. So I'll explain you what is distributed version control tools in a minute, and what is the how it differs from the traditional version control tools. So Git is most widely used modern version control system in the world, and also it's very popular. More than almost like 34 million or billion, 34 million projects are in Git, I believe. Uh, and also you can this is the official website Git SCM. Okay, and let's now look at the what are the advantages of Git. So as I mentioned earlier, right, the differences between the old one and new one is the traditional SVN and Git is, so in past, right, okay, we go back here. Okay, so now again, right, in past what happened was this is SVN, so this is central repo, and now all the versioning and revision stuff is happened here. Okay, and then developers, what they do is they just check out that code. Okay, and then they start working on it. Okay, but now what if this server lose the connection? So now you cannot do anything. Now what happens, some repositories crashes or screw up in the SVN central repo, then you lose all your changes. Now this solution is not working great. So now what Git does is Git is kind of put replications like distributed across the clients. What does it mean is, so okay, anyway, it's not wiping away, it's not, come on, wipe it up. Okay, now so how Git is helping is, right, so now this is the Git server. Okay, now you have a Git server. Now what happen is, what Git does is it will also copy the same the data replication in your local laptop too. So your local laptop will also have the complete the data, the replication of the repository. So whatever the projects in Git called repos or repositories. Okay, keep in mind that because we're going to use this terminology a lot. So whatever the projects, we also call them in Git as repositories. Okay, so what happened here is, so now the people are working everywhere, right? Now what happened is, so they have their own local copies. Those are also remote repos, right? Those are also act as a complete repo. So if something happens to this one, that's fine, you still can work in your local repo and then track the changes until it get fixed here. Or you can push this one to Git server saying that, hey, this is like the now the working copy or something. Okay, so there are a lot of features around with that. Okay, we're going to look at the features now. So now, so having said that, right, so it's a distributed version control tools. That means the code repo is replicated across your local workstations too. So for example, we five are the project members, like we six. Okay, now we are working on same project called like the infrastructure automation for AWS called AWS Lambda something. Okay, we are writing a lot of Python scripts. So what now is, we have a Git server, and where that is
Hey
the
Guru, hey
hey,
Guru, I have one question.
go ahead.
So when you say that we cannot manage the SVN when there is a connection lost or something, and it will be we cannot manage the things, right?
Right, that's true. Okay.
Yeah. So having said that, why can't we manage the same type of like a like the SVN managed on the like I would say in a Docker container or in a AWS system? Then it will be automatically managed in a different zones, right? So obviously we can manage those things. Then what is the advantage of Git when compared to the SVN then in that case?
Okay, that's a good question, right? Okay, so now let me ask you one quick question, right? So you have a repo, right? You have a repo on the, yeah, as you said, high available mode. Right now that's working great. Now, so where, so you are now working in where? You're working in India, right? So I'm
Yes.
working in US. Some guy is working in somewhere, right? Now, okay, pretty good. Now you said every SVN is a highly available mode. Now you need to work with the SVN repo, right? So when you do Git SVN checkout, when you do SVN commit, right, it will interact with the server, right? So there is a network link between your request and also through this centralized server, right? So when, like, now when you talk about an organization, right, like think about thousands of people continuously checking and checking out, and continuously the systems, the automated Jenkins or something which is continuously reading. So in order to handle that capacity, I don't think that by default SVN has the capability to support it. So you will face sometimes slow, you will find sometimes very last thing very very slow, sometimes it's pretty dead. I've been through that same process, right? We were using same. So, and also think about it, if something goes wrong in the server, right, it's not as easy as you can get the same replication in another Amazon region, because you're talking about huge data, TBs, even it's about even terabytes, more than terabytes, right? So you need to think about enterprise way, right? Then it is going to be a problem. So every software has its own features. See, think about this, right? When SVN is solving the issues, why Git? They can fix that, right? No, by architecture itself has some okay, drawbacks, so they cannot fix it
No,
that way.
I'll tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
See, when you are saying that there is a huge data and everything, I am managing the SVN controlling system, the base system on the EC2 instances, which has a which I can manage with 3 different zones or whatever the auto scaling mechanism and everything. But I'll be getting the pulling the data from the S3, where the S3 will be managed through the CDN component. So if we are managing the CDN
No.
component and or the component
Okay.
called what is that, dynamic cache or
No, it doesn't make
Redis
sense. No,
cache.
no. It doesn't
Yeah,
make
Redis.
sense. So caching and all this crap doesn't work in S3 repositories. Okay, that itself is a huge overhead. Okay, the data repo itself is a lot of overhead. If you making caching, so in real time, right, it doesn't work. So how it works is when you check in something, the other guy should immediately see your changes and then able to merge it and then able to perform the additional features. He cannot be wait for all these things. It even in seconds is mad, doesn't matter. Okay, even seconds is very important. Not in seconds, milliseconds has to be done. All these
In that
operations
case,
are,
Git has also the same concept, like when
no
we are.
no, I'll tell you why. Okay, let me tell you one more thing. Okay, so I thought of explaining later. I'll explain it now. Okay, now you said, right, that's pretty much very simple. Okay, by default, right? So let's assume, let's come back to you. Okay, let's come back to your use case, right, very quick, because that much needed to explain. Okay, so
Okay, I'll give you one simple scenario. If you can explain that, that will be the
okay,
easiest way.
go ahead,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
what's
There is a user A and a user B. Okay, in the Git, he is trying to locally Git pull or something, and he has cloned the repository, and he has Git pull all the components and everything, and he had made some changes. Okay, and at the same time, okay, and he made some changes. Meanwhile, Git B, the user B has also pulled some changes. And he also has a clone the repository, and he is trying to do the same changes on the code. And meanwhile, A has pushed the code to the Git repository. So the B user will be experiencing the component because it is not merged at all. See, there is an ordination where the merging facility will not be given directly to any users. Okay, it will be taken care by the security teams and everything, because they have to review the code and everything. There is a second process, and they are trying to push the code.
Okay, quick, what is your question then there? What is your question there?
Okay, the quick question is that once when the B is trying to push the code, there will be always a conflict, right?
Of course. If there's a remote repo already been updated, yes, there will be, yes.
Then what is the advantage of Git when coming to the SVN is a question. Simple.
Okay, then it will say that, right? It will complain. You need to pull the changes and then you need to merge it and then you need to push it back. So what is so it's the same mechanism works in SVN too. So what is there? Any version control tool that same works, right? If you have someone else updated in SVN or someone else updated in Git, so you need to pull your changes to your local system and then merge it, and then you need to create a pull request or merge request to the server. That will not change. That's a version control. That's a version control methodology itself. Architecture wise, it's a complete same for any other version control tool. There's nothing like advantage or disadvantage with that. Okay, that's the same process. That's the same process for any other tool.
But you said that in the Git,
No.
What I mean was
no. What I mean was the network operations, the speed. Okay, so what happens? Okay, you said, right, very simple. Okay, now your very good point. Okay, now let's talk about in the same point. Right now, the A user is push it to the SVN repo, right? Okay, now SVN repo crashed. So what you do?
That's what the reason of the cloud components are coming. But in the traditional data center,
there's no cloud component. No one install the SVN server on the cloud component. That's gone. That's even it's not at all solution you are talking about. Somehow cloud. It doesn't mean that you can achieve with every software, because software, the data replication has to be happen. The data syncing needs to be happen. It's not that simple as you talk about AWS replication and all this stuff. Okay, if that is these all tools could not be evolved, right? Everything could have been worked with high availability and scalability in a reliable way, but it's not the same story. It doesn't work with the softwares. Okay,
no, but when the data is on the S3,
okay, that's okay. It doesn't make sense for me, but anyway, we can talk offline. That's fine. Keep it that with you, because you got a clarity. Okay, for now, let's not go back to the cloud at all. Okay, even there's no cloud that time. Now forget about the cloud. Okay, cloud will not come into picture for the Git repositories. Okay, that's clear. Okay, for now, Forget about that. When you have another question, you can ask. Okay, always. Okay, but for now, stop there because it doesn't make sense anything for someone else to work on the call. Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay.
What do you mean by that? One second, Guru. It's not the way you teach the things. Okay. When we have a question, you should answer that one. Otherwise, let me speak to the coordinators. Okay.
Well, I mean, what I'm telling you? It doesn't make sense. The cloud doesn't make sense. I keep explaining.
Come on, man. See, when we are having the different aspects and different thinkings, you should be able to answer the queries.
Buddy, wait. Praveen.
Guru, let me try to attempt. Praveen, so it is somewhere around 2000, 2005 that these concepts were evolving, right? One was the hardware side, another is the software side. So what Guru is trying to present is from the software side.
When you are speaking about,
I'm Pankaj.
Hey, buddy. Okay, wait, buddy. From the starting itself, you ask who is the presenter and what is all this crap. Okay, I don't need to answer for everything. Okay, it doesn't matter. If you go out, that's fine. But if you want to listen, that's okay. Yeah, I told you, right? It's something different. We can talk offline too. Didn't I say that? So what does that mean? Okay, you need to be patient. Okay, if you know something more, that's fine. Keep it with you. Or if I don't know something,
Guru, we are not paying for. Guru, we are not paying for the basics.
Wait. Hey, I said wait. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Guru, we are not paying for the basics. Okay.
Okay, it's up to you. You deal with whatever what are those guys. Okay, it's not about basics or something.
Okay, I'm leaving the class. Let me discuss with the coordinators. Okay, thank you.
So you are kind of rude, man. That's okay. What I don't care. Go ahead. Hey, sorry guys. So hey, I tried to explain him. So he's still leaning towards cloud and all these concepts. So I told him it doesn't make sense. I mean, if I'm not wrong, I know. I told him I will talk offline, but that guy was very kind of I don't know. Hey, sorry guys. Sorry for this. Okay, just I'm gonna unmute you all. Just give me something because I just need to take the feedback before proceeding, because if you guys feel that, I can stop and I can ask Rajesh to cover that. That's fine. Okay, I'll take the votes and then based on that we'll go for it. Hey, you guys feel same? Mr. Mastan, Abdul, Jain, Mr. Nagesh.
Yep, Guru.
Hey, this is all right. If you guys want to proceed, I can proceed. If not, you can always I mean, we can always reschedule the session and ask Rajesh to cover. That's fine, because I'm just covering for him. What do you guys want to do? You want me to go ahead or you want me to Rajesh to cover? Either way is fine for me. Abdul? Hey, did I unmute you all? Hey, Vinit?
Hey, Mukesh, you there? Mukesh?
Guru, we can continue. We are not even gone into the GitHub at all, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That guy asked like a lot of, unnecessary questions. I told him to will speak offline, but you want to get answer in a cloud way. I tell him because last time I also been asked not to spend too much on the theoretical part. Let's focus on the training part. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, I'll continue. Okay, man, that's fine. Okay, so then Git, right? So Git was become so popular. Okay, these are the advantages of Git. So it is kind of high available. So what happens is, if something happens to the central remote repo, your work, your local work copy also can work. Work as a backup for the actual Git project. And also because of you are doing very less operations with the Git server, so that will help you to, because most of the works happened in your local workspace itself. Okay, how it works is you do some changes on your local computer, so once you are ready, then only you can push it to the Git server. Okay, and also same thing. Okay, now let's get into the practicals, because so as long as if you guys have any questions on Git, what is Git and what is Git server, I can explain. But anyway, we are going to discuss same in coming slides too.
Guru, I have this question.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
you're mentioning in point C that only one Git directory per repository.
That's right.
I think
Okay.
same thing is maintained in Subversion as well, isn't it not?
Sorry, what was that again?
So in SVN also you have a local, you download the code, you check out the code in your local repo, and then once you commit it goes into the global repository, right?
That's right.
So how is this Git's thing different than SVN's one?
It's a pretty much same. You're right. So in SVN you have .svn directory. Here in one .git repository, it's same as SVN. It's not different. Just it's kind of saying that it's a one Git directory per repository, means like you have everything in that Git. So in this case is right, what .git directory will have is an additional objects, like which will have the complete repo information that includes your from the starting to now. It will have all the version stores in .git directory, but in SVN it's not the case. Even though your local work copy will be there, but it doesn't have anything. The only the .svn files will have only the changes which is temporarily you have it on the system, but the server is the one which is actually holding all your versionings. You got it?
Yeah, Guru, thanks.
No, you got what I mean, right? So in .svn directory, you will not have complete the replications, complete the versions. Only the central server has that. If you want to retrieve something from SVN, you have to talk to the central repo. But in Git, it's not the case. You can use the .git directory without even connecting to the internet, without even connecting to the remote repo. You can always look for the changes. Okay. Now, and it's a collaboration friendly. Anyway, I'll go through that one again. So let's now install the Git. So if you guys want to make it more interactive, you guys also try to install Git on your local systems, and then let me know if you guys face any issues. Otherwise, I will go ahead and install it on my local system. I uninstalled before this session. Now I'm going to install it. Okay. So GitCM is the official website. So when you type whatever the operating system you want, it will ask you to download specific version. If you are using the Red Hat CentOS, use minstall -y git. If you are using Debian or Ubuntu, try to use apt get git. So that will install the Git on your server, on your desktop, whatever it is. So okay, so the Git, you need to have Git software installed in order to use the Git. So for, and also we talk about Git server. By default, by default, Git itself can act as a, your local system can act as a server. But when you really want to work in a collaborative mode, or when you want to work in enterprise mode,
This conference will now be recorded.
hey, we just joined. So now I'm installing the Git. Okay, now we can check either Git is installed or not by using Git -- version. Now it's a Git install. Now its latest version is 2.23. I think that is released a day ago, believe. Okay, I think a day before yesterday it was released, 1 day ago. So once you install the Git, right? So you can check using git -- version. And also when you first install, you need to do some setup, like you need to give your username, your email, and if you are connected to the Git server, you need to configure the Git server too. But anyway, we'll discuss that one in a minute. But for now, if you type git -- version, you can see what is the Git version you install. So are you guys trying to install on your local systems or on your desktops or on your servers? Please let me know if you have any issues having with the installation process. If not, then once you install the Git, right, you need to set up your username, because this one will be used whenever you are working with the Git. That means like when you do something like a Git commit, a Git push, or if you maintain the versioning, right, that time what Git does is it will utilize the username and the user email which is from the config, and which will put the record accordingly, saying that okay, this commit has been done by so and so guy. This is the email ID which has been for the commit. Okay, so this is a one-time setup. You have to do it for every Git client. Okay, if you want to see your details, you can do using git config -- list. Now you can able to see all the default Git configs. Okay, and these are the two things, and these are the by default when you install the Git client, right, this will be default for specific to Windows 10. If you install it on any Linux or Debian machines, you don't see this many, but these are by default. Okay, but these are the two things I've added. Okay, and if we want to see all the Git commands available in Git by using git -- help. Okay, so seems like someone joined. Praveen is back, and also, hey Rajesh, did you join? Mantosh? Okay, guys. Okay, anyway, it seems like someone joined. Okay, good. Glad that Praveen is back. Hey Praveen, I'm sorry. Okay. Now anyway, now let's back to start with. So now first we'll talk about two. First scenario is try to initialize one project within our local Git repository, and also we now later we'll look into the GitHub project specific things. Okay, so anyway, now in general, right, when you start the project, right, so even yourself, what you do is you are going to create the directory. Okay, so saying that okay, this is going to be the test project or something. Now we'll create one project called project test one. So now, so anyway, now I'm the only developer, so I need to I would like to track all the changes in whatever happened to project one. So what I will do is I'm going to rename it project test one. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to start versioning this project, right? So what I can do is I need to initiate the Git. So this is the Git init is the command to initiate the versioning in your project. Then what happens here is, if you look at that, you see there's a .git directory. So now whatever I do within this project, that will be versioned by the Git. Okay, now let's see what it means. Okay, now if I do touch 1.txt file, So now if you see, right, now what happened from my previous state to now, let's look at, okay, now there are two files. One is one.txt file and there's a .git repository. So now the .git repository, which is the one which tracks all our changes. Now I just added only one file. Now let's look at status. Like git status is the command to see.
Guru,
Okay, who is that?
Guru, I'm Pankaj. I have a question. So,
Okay,
are
sir.
you saying that whenever we run the init, the Git file would be created per Git instance, or that would be per project?
For that project, so I mean, when you start a project in your local repo, that's where you need to use git init. But if you create something in Bitbucket in enterprises, you mostly don't need to use the git init. Okay, this is when you do projects in your local systems. Yes, but are so something like assume you started working on some test project, right? Okay, you started coding in Java. Okay, now you started coding in like thousands of files, right? Now you need to track them. So that's where you, if you don't have some version control tools already in place, what you do is you go to that project and do git init. That time it will start tracking your changes.
So suppose if I'm working on 3 projects, right? One is my current major build, and then there could be 2 patches, right? Parallelly. So
Okay.
ideally, so these practically are 3 different projects. So are we saying that one .git file only will be prepared, or there would be 3 different gits for 3 different projects?
Uh, so you said 3 different projects or 3 different releases? That's totally
Right,
different.
3 different releases, right?
So then you need to use the branching strategy. I'm gonna cover in a minute. If you want to learn now, I can tell you, because how it works is you are gonna create the branches for each release. Okay, you're going to say, okay, based on current working directory, create a branch from so and so I mean master branch. Usually by default master branch will be created. Okay, so you need to say, hey, git check out the new branch. Then what it does is it will create a new branch for you, and then you do the changes on that specific branch, and then from that branch, so that you can, sorry guys. Okay, so then you can take that code and then a specific branch and then deploy to that release. So I'm gonna explain that one with the examples in I think in maybe in another 5-10 minutes, because I'm gonna discuss the basics first and then I will go through. You want to do right now?
Right, Guru. So you are saying that your project means a local repo, right?
Yes. Now this is local repo example. I'm going through local repo examples. Yes. I'm gonna next slide is gonna be the one which is we're gonna look into the GitHub one. Then that time we're going to discuss about the different branching strategies and also how to create the release branches and feature branches. Okay, is that clear, or you want me to explain again?
No, Guru. Please proceed.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Now git status is the command which now you know what has been happening to your project. Now it's saying, hey, there's a one file which has been untracked. Now what you need to do is you need to add that file. So git add is the command to add the file to the version control tool. Okay, so when you're doing in Windows, what it does is by default it will convert all the LF, like the spaces, all any control M characters, that will replace and that will properly add it to the git. Okay, and once you added that to the git, you need to use command called git commit to push it to git repo. Okay, my first file. Right now, if you see git log, right now you know what is been when this has been updated and what time and who did that. So when you remember, like we set it up, the username and the email. So these are the two things which has been used for tagging your commits. Okay, now I know who has been updated and who changed it. Okay, now next, and then Once that is done, right? So now if you do some again changes, 1 to 1.txt, saying that
So Guru, when we say git log,
okay,
it will give the history of my local repo only, right? Which
right,
means just my commits.
at this moment, yes, your commits.
And the moment we say git put or something like that, push, in that case, it will give these all comments would be maintained at the global repository, right?
No, when you say
The,
git
the,
pull, right? So now we are working with the local repo. We are not there yet. We are not using the Git server, the common repo, which has been. We are going to use it in a minute. This is just this is just a quick example how the Git works, and we are going to
so,
create the one.
so how it matters, because these are my logs only. I know it what I've done it, right?
We will show that. We will give a. I mean, we're going to discuss in a second. Okay, that's what I'm going to do it in a minute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and create a one project in GitHub so that now both of us can check in the changes and then see who changed what and what has been happened to that repo. Okay, so and then if you do git status set, I see now I have my file is modified. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to add that again, git add. Okay, this is an example. Okay, now so this is the first use case, right? What we did was, this is how we generally work with the git repositories within our local system. Okay, now we need to, so when you do yourself, right, it's not the case, right? In organizations, what is teams works on it. Okay, when the teams works on it, so you need to kind of you need to have some kind of git server, where the central server where we can host our repos and then use that repo as the reference, and everyone can use it and then work based on that project, so that everyone now all teams across the globe, they can try to work with the same repository and they can track the changes what is happening to that repository. Okay, so now let's look at one of the git server. So now again, as I told you, right, when you are working with your local system, no one cares because that's your own project. Now you can use the Git to track your own changes. That's fine. But when you're working with enterprise organization, right? So you need to have some kind of central location where you can host your. You need to have some kind of server where you can host your Git repository. So there are multiple Git hosting providers out there. One of the top provider is GitHub, and there's a one more called Bitbucket. These are the two top contestants for hosting your servers, and there's one more called GitLab, that is also a leading Git hosting provider. So you can use any of these three, doesn't make any difference. The only thing is each one will have a different UI and also different additional features, how they manage the branching strategies, how they manage the CI part, and how how they manage the teams, how they manage the access controls and policies around. So that is what the differs. But moreover, the more, I mean, most of the people uses GitHub. That's because in open source world they use a lot, and they have a lot of tools which helps the community along with hosting Git repos. So okay, so anyway, so GitHub is the cloud-based Git repository hosting service. What happens is when you have project, right, what they do is they kind of host for you. So there are two types of solutions out there. One is public, so anyone can host their repository openly to the world, so that you can get all the features, or you can privately host the GitHub server. Because if you in enterprise, right, what they do is they kind of install the GitHub software on their servers, so that the data is more secure, the repositories are more secure within the data center. So that's what the GitHub provides. So now At this moment, more than 14 million people are using GitHub, and also 35 million repositories are hosted on the GitHub. This is one of the largest source code repository, and also it has also many additional products like GitHub Pages and GitHub Enterprise. So, okay. Anyway, when we are talking about GitHub, right, what it means is let me explain you a little bit more. So now when you have a project here, right, project one, so now you are a one guy, you can work on that project, and there's one more guy, he can work on the project and he can commit and pull the changes and push the changes. Same thing other guy too. So that means, like, I think I'm kind of okay. So you can always so you hosted your server here, GitHub in GitHub, and you can kind of work with GitHub to push the changes from what team has been done. Okay, we'll look at the couple of examples, and then you will understand what I'm talking about. Now, anyway, so now let's say that now we as a team, right? We all are one team. Now we started working on one project. Let's call now project, let's say project test 12. Okay, this is one of the test project we are going to work on it now. This is based on Java. So first of all, if you don't have an account with the GitHub, please go ahead and try to register the GitHub account. Once there, let me show you that page. Okay, okay, so if you don't have an account, go ahead and create an account for you from here. Okay, and also if you already have an account, please go ahead and log in, and then try to start creating project. Okay, so for example, now we are going to create a project name called project number 12. Okay, that's so the project names are very unique to your repository. So if you don't have that project already been created, you can create it. If it's already been used, it will complain. But for now, okay, now this is project about as part of the training. So this is not enterprise one. So I need to make it public, because otherwise I cannot add more people to contribute. So for now, I'm going to use everyone to check in. And also I'm going to keep, I mean, this is my starting of the project. For that, what I will do is I'm going to put one README file for the I mean, I don't want to create empty repository. That's the reason I just used one README file to create, and then click on create repo. So then it will create the repo for us. Okay, now, so why GitHub? Why not Bitbucket? Why not some other tools? You can use them, but again, everyone has their own features to how they manage the team, how they manage the pull request, how they manage the settings. So now let's look at the overall dashboards of GitHub, right? So when you create the project, this is your username and this is your project. Okay, and if you want to see what is going on with that project, you see here. So this is the project name, and here are the collaborators. So this is the section is very important. So now you created the project, right? By default, if it is the public project, everyone can see the project, but no one cannot contribute until I give the access to that. Okay, now if so, for example, can one of you guys give me your ID so that I can add here? Praveen, Sweta, Vinith, anyone? Mukesh, does anyone has the GitHub account? I'm unmuting all. Hey, does anyone have the GitHub account or no?
No, I have GitLab, but not the GitHub.
Mr. Nagesh. Oh, no one has it. Okay, you guys should create it, one man. This is good. So when you're in DevOps, right, this is a minimum thing you should have. one GitHub account, because the GitHub has a lot of source codes available for reference. So if you guys are looking for some solution, like for example AWS Lambda functions, or if you're looking for Terraform files or something, right? So you can go and look into GitHub. You'll absolutely find the exact the thing you are looking for. That's powerful it is. So go ahead and look at GitHub. Try to explore that. Okay. Okay, Praveen has it. So I'm gonna use the Praveen for now. A lot of people pinged me. Okay, give me 1 second. Praveen. Seems like he doesn't have an account, so that's fine. Let's see who else has an account. So anyway, when I type in email, right, that email must and should be registered with GitHub. Then only it can recognize. Otherwise, it won't. So if you don't have, guys, please go ahead and create it now. It will just take a second. So that everyone try to install the Git client too. Oh, no one has it, so I cannot add these people. Anyway, so I'll give anyway. When we get the break, right? Try to register yourself to Git, and also try to install the Git client, so that we can talk about we can work on collaboratively way. Okay. So then, right. So now this is how most of the enterprises does. What they does is so one of the admin, like Git admin, what they do is they kind of create a project for you in Bitbucket or GitHub or GitLab or whatever the Git server is, and then they say now, hey, here is our project, okay, and here is the master branch, okay. Now we need to work as a team, okay. Now what they do is they will provide the access controls to everyone here in this section, and then so if the kind of branching strategy, I'll cover that in a minute, but generally we're going to look into the different branches and different branching strategy and stuff. And also you can set up some of books, but that's too advanced topic. It's not part of this one for sure. And then deploy keys, so you can add your keys that can access to the this repo using your public and private key. Okay. Now so this project can be accessible from anywhere. Okay, you just need to go ahead, okay, and take this URL. You should be able to see the everything. Now how can I check in this code? All right, now at this moment there are two options available. One is you can use the so always, right, you can work within Git two ways. One is using HTTP protocol or SH protocol. So in order to enable the SH protocol, you need to use your public and private keys. But if you want to do use with your username and password, you can use HTTP mode. So I hope you guys know what is meant by private key and public key, right? So that is another way of communicating with your Linux based systems. So I'm going to generate one private key for me and public key. Now, before that, I want to show one more thing. Right now, I'm trying to do what? Let's see. This is a public repo. You can clone it because this is a public repo, right? So everyone will have access to that. Oh no, so it's my account. Okay, I did not make it public yet. Okay, I mean I mean because this system doesn't recognize this system. So what I need to do is either I need to use HTTPS or use the, if I use HTTPS, I should be able to. Right? See, if I use the HTTPS, because by default it could not identify that, because when we use SH, right, you need to have SH key copied over there. But when you use HTTPS, if it's a public project, it can check it out easily without any access. But if it is a private project, you need to use your username and password. Okay. For now, I'm going to use the SH mode. Okay. Most of the companies use SH enabled. Okay. I will show you how to enable the SH one. So what you have to do is, you can always, if it is your personal if it once your profile is created in enterprise or in GitHub, what you need to do is you need to set up your public key. Okay, go here and then go here and add your public key here. Okay, now let's see if I can do using SH. Okay. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to use git clone and then SH mode. Okay, now I'm able to. Oh, maybe I did it different. Sorry. Let's check it out here, because I just cloned into the desktop. So again, what I did was, if you want to clone the remote repo, what you need to use, the command called git clone. That's how you clone the repos from GitHub or Git servers. Okay, that's the command you have to use. So once that is there, if you look at the project tree, so if you look at the project tree, right, so you see there's a .git directory and there's one file called readme.md file. Now see, I'm a one programmer, right? And also there are on the other end, there are thousands of people who are working on the same project. So whoever has the access to this project, they can work on it. Now let's see. I started working on test.java file. Okay, now you need to know the commands, right? First, when you do git clone, what you did was you checked out the git remote repo. Now you did some changes to the project, right? Now you see, if you do git status, okay, now it says there's a one file we need to add. So there's one new file there. First, you need to add that file to the git. You can do git add all or git add test.java, or you can do git add dot. So these are the few ways to add the files within the current directory, or you can name the files specifically. Anyway, you can do either way. Okay, and then okay, now we added the file. Now we need to commit that file to the Git repository. my first Java program. Okay. Now, so again, right, there's a concept called Git origin, staging, and also the head area. Anyway, so now your changes are in local repo. Okay, you still did not push it to the remote repo yet, because see, if you see here, right, even though you committed it, you don't see change, you don't see your changes here, right? So what you need to do is you need to use command called git push. Okay, now if you go ahead and even refresh it here, you see here. So now your program is here. So now if someone else want to do some changes, what they can do is, for example, like, right, so let's look at someone else. Okay, let's assume this dashboard is been edited by someone else. Okay, now let's look at this guy. Okay, read me, right? Now assume some other guy called, what he did was he said project 13 some xyz. Assume someone else. Okay, updated by Nagesh. Okay, now if I go ahead and do here, right, still vi read me. So my still saying still my old project, I mean old details. How do you know that people are updating it, right? The only way you know is very simple. So whenever you do some changes to your local system, right, it's always recommended that use git pull. Now you see, hey, someone changed the readme.md file. I see there are 3 lines are changed. So, and I don't see that you did something to your readme file yet. Okay, so I'm just going ahead and then replacing it, because the file which you have it in your local system is older than the file which is on the Git server on the GitHub. So what it did was it did fast forward match, and then it got all the remote repo changes to your local system. Now if you see again, now you have all these changes. Same thing if someone else do that, right? Now what happens if, okay, again we are going to discuss about what happens if same lines have been happen to the conflict, or if someone else deletes that file, what will happen, what if that exists on our repos. We are going to discuss in a minute. So till now, do you guys have any questions?
What is Git fork?
Okay, so the git fork is okay it comes especially in GitHub or Bitbucket repos, right? What is mean by is, so if you have the enterprise repo, right, if you have the enterprise repo, you don't want to follow the branching strategy, if you don't want to work on the remote repo, so what you do is you kind of fork it to your local account. Okay, what I mean was, I'll show you an example. So Jenkins file. Okay, now, okay, not this one. Okay, this is one repo, right? This is managed by one company. Okay, now this is managed by your team. Now what you can do is, if you have an access, or you are contributed to these branches and stuff, you can contribute directly from this specific enterprise account. Okay, this specific organization. Now in this case, right, you will not have access because this has been restricted. Okay, or this has been totally, you don't have an access. What you can do is you can fork it. The fork means it's the same copy of your actual repository. That's called the fork. So you can fork it and you can start working on it. Once you're done with your fork changes, you can always push it to the remote repo. You can create a pull request so that they can review and then they can merge it.
Okay.
You got what I mean? Not clearly? Seems like you're not. Okay.
So you
Anyway.
fork this repository and you make any changes that you wanted. And if you push, this remote repository will change, or the one you forked. So it's like a mirror copy.
Okay. No, same copy. Okay. Now, okay. Let me put it this way, right? Who is the owner of this project now? Jenkins
Yeah.
is the one, right? Now, even if I try to do some changes, right? Let's see. Okay, let's assume now I need to do some changes, right? Okay, let's see if I can edit. So see, now I cannot commit it. They're asking to propose file changes, but
Okay.
what I can do is I can fork this repository. Okay, now I forked into my repository, right? Now I can do changes whatever I want. Okay, I can do changes whatever I want. I can test it out, and then what I can do is I can create a pull request.
Hello.
Is that clear?
Yeah. Now I got better understanding.
So yeah, most of the times, right, what the people do, you don't need to create your forks. Okay, the only time you create a fork is when you're working with the open source project. But most of the cases, what happens is you need to clone it. Okay, you need to clone the repos, and you need to work on the different branches.
Okay,
So
Guru, I have a question, Praveen here. Sorry.
go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have a project and we work on the Git changes and everything. But
Okay.
in our case as well, we do the Git commits and we create a pull request as well. And we do not do the forking and everything. We just create a clone and we work on the projects and then push it to the master. Okay.
That's right, sir. Okay.
But at that time also we create a pull request. So what is the difference between the forking pull request and the difference between the Git clone and making the changes and pushing and making the pull request?
Okay, that's a very good question actually. So now, very simple, right? So, okay, now let's talk about the fork pull request, right? So you got the Jenkins CI, right? This guy, okay? This is your project, your actual project, okay? Forget about
Okay.
this is
No. Can you do us a little bit practical? Just clone
yeah,
that one
sure.
and yeah.
I'll show that one. Okay. Now, okay, let me show an example, right? So, given scenario, right? Now we are working on project number 12. Okay.
No. Just go back to one of your project like Terraform. There is some code or something, right?
Okay, that's good. Okay, now.
Yeah. Terraform example. Yeah. Go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Okay, now you got a Terraform example project, right? Now, okay, now I'm saying you are working on, let's create a branch call for Praveen, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna create a branch for Praveen because he's gonna work on it. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is assume I'm Praveen. Okay. For now, what I did was
So in order that this branch should be created by the owner itself, or the user also can create the branch and push the code.
Whoever has the access to create the branches, only admin can able to create it. The only okay, so how we know that who is the admin? If we go here, as I told you, if anyone of you guys has the my account, I can make you. I'll show you what is that mean.
Can you type my by my ID SADINENI?
Okay, I got SCM Galaxy. Let's see.
Okay.
They need to accept it anyway. I checked your account, man. It's not there.
I am able to see my things as well. Can you check it out once again?
What's your user? Tell me username.
SADI.
SADI.
NENI.
NENI.
P. Yeah,
This guy?
the first one. Yeah.
For some reason, email was not correct. So anyway, I did send you. Can you please accept it? Okay. In the meantime, accept it. I'll show you. I'll come back to that permission model anyway. So now I need to clone that repo. Wait, J Master Praveen. Wait, J. Calm down, okay? You're unmuted, by the way. By the way, Praveen, you should be very professional. By the way, I don't mind, right? Everyone is working towards learning, and also I'm also for the same. Okay, calm down. Okay, now the Praveen branch is also there. Okay, git checkout Praveen. Okay, now I'm Praveen, right? So let's assume I did some changes, right? Okay, and then do git commit, and then git push. Okay, now so we did the changes to this branch, and then so now it's see now let's create a pull request, right? Now what is happening is now we are in the same project. We are working in the same project, but in different branches. So this Praveen guy doesn't have the permissions to merge into the master by default. So what you need to do is you need to create a new pull request. So you need to say create a new pull request. Now we are talking about branches. Okay, so you are merging to master branch from which branch? From Praveen branch. Okay, now let's see. So now what's happened? Okay, this guy did changes one file called the Terraform example readme file. He added one more line test. Okay, now you see the changes. Now you say, okay, create a pull request. Now he created the pull request. Okay, and then now you have pull request open. Now it's up to me, either as an admin team, right? I can either merge it or I can reject the merge. So this is the branching way. Now, so okay, so this is the merging way, and there's another way is you can also use the fork. What is the fork? So fork is pretty much instead of you create a branches, right? What you have to do is you can fork complete repo, and then you can work on your local account master repo, and then you can create a pull request from your fork. Both are similar, but mostly we follow the branching strategy way, and we don't follow the fork model, because very less people follow the fork model, because the fork model everyone has to clone the complete repo, and then they can start working on it, and then they can commit the changes to the main repo, remote repo, once you are done with it.
And Guru, one more question here. So why do we ask the means? Can you go to your Git command line?
Okay.
You are done on the directly on the okay, the Praveen branch, and then it will be when we are giving that, you are pulling it from the, excuse me, you are merging it from the Praveen branch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why did you work directly previously on the master branch? Why did not you create a branch request and do that one and merge it out?
Sorry, I did not follow you. Could you please explain again?
Yeah, in the previous example, when you are doing the changes, right, you did it on the master branch, right?
Okay, I previously, yes, I did on the master branch, right? That's correct. Okay.
So why are we doing in this case in the Praveen as in the Praveen branch and pulling that pushing that code to the master branch? Because is that because I do not have the permission?
No, you ask, right, how the branching pull request works, and then how the fork pull request works.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was assuming that we can directly do on the master branch as well.
No,
That
most
is
of the
not,
cases, master branch will be locked it down, because only
okay.
you can create your own application, I mean, feature branches and release branches, and then you can work on it.
Okay, got it. And can you go back to that console again once again? Sorry. Okay. Now we have made the changes, and you have merged that changes as well. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
I did not merge it. It's still open, so I can merge it now. I can go to this pull request
Update.
because I'm admin, so I can go ahead and I can. Okay, see, before that, if you guys want to see that, so this readme file has only, I believe I changed this one. Okay, this Terraform examples, right? Now this master branch, let's see what it is been updated. Commits, okay, file change, go to file change, and you see I added one more line called extra, this one. So when you merge it to the master, you should be able to see the
that
updates. Okay, now do that, commit merges.
Okay. Meanwhile, when there is one more person who has pulled the same during when you are given the permission to Praveen as well as some permission to Nagesh, okay, and Nagesh has pulled the has cloned the repository, and I myself has cloned the repository, and as I asked you the previous example, right, and I have worked on and I have pushed that request to the master, and it was not in the committed state. It is not in the merged state, okay. It has to be yet merged, but Nagesh also has pulled before merging, and he has made some changes and he's trying to pull the changes. So at that time there will be a conflict, right, in the code and everything. So how are we going to tackle those things, and how can we identify the people who are working on that branches and everything, and merge the both the changes into one commit, and we can push that one. How can we do those things?
No, that's not the case. So we're not going to worry about all this stuff, right? That's where the Git comes into picture, right? So okay, now you working on something, you created a pull request, right? That's fine. So and then Nagesh is working on it and he created a pull request. Okay, that's fine too. Okay, now when you create it, right, there is a time lapse. Okay, so the first thing is both pull requests are open. No one has been no one has been merged yet. Okay, both are open. Now you both, when you guys open a pull request, right, you don't see the conflicts because none of these are been merged to master yet. Now it's admin job. Okay, then what I have to do is, now what you did was you updated, you updated your code base and you created a pull request, and I see now once I see your fork first, what I will do is I will merge that one first. Okay, and then okay, I will just say, hey, you know what, hey, this pull request has been updated. Now the second one, right? If the same file has been updated, right? What I will do is I will not merge that. Pull request. I will just say, hey, there are some conflicts. You both guys, I'm gonna reject that pull request. I'm gonna say, hey, there are some conflicts. Can you please you guys work on the conflicts and then merge it back. If there is two different files you guys change, so then what I will do is I will just merge the is code too. Now it's your job to pull the latest changes. By the time if you see some conflicts, then you have to resolve it on your own.
Yeah, but the question comes here is that when we are working in a different location and everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
No. For example, I work in India timings, IST time zone, and Nagesh will be working in the US time zone. So what I did is that I worked on one text file, txt, and I pulled the code at around night around 11 o'clock, and I have made the changes on the text file, and I have uploaded, and my code is ready, and I have uploaded to the for the what do you say, merging the code to the master branch. But as the team works in the US time zone, they did not merge because I am in the IST time zone, and they kept it out till the UST time zone. Early morning before the actual the people who merges, who is the owner of that repository, the Nagesh has logged in, and he pulled the request, and it will be like an older file only, and he has worked on the same file, txt file, 1.txt file with the different changes. So when he is trying to push it out itself, he will be having a conflict, right? Is that correct?
Okay. So anyway, before pushing to the repo, right, you can always pull it out. That's the
but the pulling, without committing the changes, the repository will be the yesterday's file only. So he will be getting the yesterday's file, but there are changes that has to be committed, which are in the pipeline.
Okay.
So during that time, he has pulled that one, and he is getting the older file. And while he was, for example, in the 1.txt file, I have created a new file. There is one file in 1.txt. In that, there is an example called name as my name is Praveen, and I have pulled it out and made the changes in the 1.txt and added my name is Praveen1, and it is waiting for the merging. And in the second case, before that is merged, when Nagesh has come online and he has pulled the repository, he will be seeing only my name is Praveen. Okay, and now he has pulled it out, and he cloned it out, and he made the changes as my name is Praveen2, something like that. And he is trying to push the changes. Then there will be always a conflict, right?
Okay,
because there
then
is
you have to resolve it, right?
So how are we going? Because it is like we work in a different time zones. What is the advantage we are taking out of the Git?
Okay, so anyway, I did not. Answer is I did not. I mean, I did not quite get that, but I'll try to explain what I understood from your question. So here is how it works, right? So in most of the cases, right, generally in any enterprises, because I'm also working in enterprise environment, right? So how it works is, so someone in India, right, and someone in US, someone in UK, right? So it doesn't matter. So once what you do is you do your code changes and you push it to the Git remote repo. Okay, now, and then once you've done that, right, so that will be validated. Once that is done, you create a pull request and your job is done. Okay, you say you are 100% sure that your job is done. Now it's me, okay, on the US time zones. What I will do is I will see any open merge request, or if it doesn't matter, or what I will do is I will do my changes and I think I am done. Okay, now when you open the pull request, that's fine, it's already there. So when I create a pull request on the GitHub, right, now if I have the same file conflicts, right, if I have the same conflicts, if I see on the previous open pull request, it will say, hey, there's another pull request is already open. Do you want to get those pull request changes, or you want to proceed and create a pull request. There's an option too. So what you can do is, you can, before even the merging that pull request, you can always get that pull request, or you can create another pull request. So it's a time-based man, right? So the one below will get merged properly. The one will above, if it has any conflicts, that will, you will not able to merge it because you will see conflicts directly. So you need to manually go and explicitly resolve those conflicts. That's what we do. That's what I know. That, I mean, if you, I mean, I hope you got it, but that's what in Git helps. I don't know other than that.
Yeah, we do use GitLab, and we use the same strategy as you explained.
Yeah, everyone does the same actually. That's what the enterprise. But maybe if I'm not missing something, I mean, you can explain me if you know, because I think that's what we, most of the people does.
No, but Sweta, if in an agile methodologies, right? When the project sprints are happening, and they say that okay, they distribute the work for different people on the same file. For example, in the repository, there is one file called my project dot txt or something, or Java or something, and one code will be written by one offshore team, and one code will be written by the, because front end and back end, depending upon that one, we'll be writing the codes, right? So when the offshore team is writing the codes for the front end on the same file, and the back end taken care by the on-site team on the same file, the front end team will be pulling their pushing their request in the IST time zone, and these guys will be pushing the changes in the US time zone. So I'm just trying to curious to understand how this actually we are taking the advantage when we are having this kind of a conflicts kind of a mechanism and everything.
I mean, as Guru explained, if you have a multiple pull request on the same branch, it will ask you whether you want to, pull those requests and update those, and then push your changes.
Okay. Even though it is not merged?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, even though, yeah, I mean, it's not merged. There is already one open pull request, right? And again, you are doing one more pull request to the same file.
Oh, yeah. So it will be giving you an option saying that you want to update that one, and
yeah, that is what Guru mentioned, right?
okay.
Even, yeah.
So it will be a new pull request, or it will be one pull request for both of the changes?
I think it will be one more pull request, right, Guru?
Yeah, you need to create a pull request. You can create how many pull requests you want for the changes.
No, but because I have already done, when it is asking for the option, right? You want to merge the existing changes and again push it out. Then yes, then I said yes. Then it will be a different pull request, or it will be a single pull request, because I have already merged those changes into my pull request, right? So it will be a different pull request.
If there is, if there is an open pull request, right, for your request changes, your also the changes will be reflected. The whatever the changes you are still doing, whatever you are pushing to the same branch, it will be reflected in the same pull request. You don't need to create a separate one unless until it's a different branch, or if it is a different story. But
yeah, got it, Guru. But the thing is that when we are working on the local, we will be creating our own branches and everything. So that also will be a conflict when we are working on a different branches, because I will not be having explicit permission on the branch. For example, Shweta is working on the front end and she has pushed the code, and I'll not be having explicit permission on that branch to merge those changes into my branch, Praveen. So does it work out like that? So is that the way? I'm not sure. I'm just asking you.
yeah, I mean, you need to create your own branch, or you need to fork it, and then you need to create a pull request for that branch. So why you get into that others project which you don't have
No,
access,
but
right?
because Shweta has pushed already pushed the changes onto the master branch from her branch, Shweta, and I am also working on the same file. So when I am trying to push the changes, it says, hey, Praveen, there is one pull request which is waiting in a waiting state, and which already there are some commit changes on the same file which you are working. So we cannot push the changes. So this is the example that I have faced it out. So I did not know how to solve that one. That's the reason I'm just putting a query on that.
Hey, Vicky, if you want, you can take the offline because you got my email. You can always, even.
Yeah, sure.
I can give my phone number, or you can talk to Rajesh. See, don't worry, because some of them I too don't know, right? So I'm giving,
sure, no problem.
I'm giving an example based on my experience, right? So there are some different use cases. There are different examples. There are a lot in Git. I know only few things, but even again, right? So you can always, we can always, because there are a lot of other people. There are some people who left in between. So there are 3-4 people left actually. So anyway, I just wanna make sure that I wanna give a break, or I will quickly go through the remaining stuff, and then we can wrap it up. Which one you want? You want me to take a break, or you want me to continue for another 20-30 minutes, and then we can wrap it up? Which one you want to do?
Continue.
Most of the people continue. Everyone? Okay, cool.
What others wanted.
I think there are only few left. Okay, so I mean, I pretty much covered basics, right? So I mean, if you guys want advanced topics, we can always discuss in further sessions. Don't worry, okay? So, but hopefully, if you guys don't follow that, please let me know, because if something you're not getting there, even basics or even a little bit there, we should stop it immediately, and we can take another session, or we can ask Rajesh to cover it. Okay, nothing to shy, nothing to be worry about. You can always speak out. Okay. Just want to make sure that you guys are getting it, otherwise it's gonna go useless. Okay.
Guru,
Anyway.
Hi Guru, you were mentioning something about header or head, and then we lost out the track from there.
Oh yeah, right, that's true. Okay, now before that, I'm going to show something. Okay, now. Oh, okay, so now, okay, GitHub, right? GitHub is the remote repository. So where your enterprise repositories resides. So you create a project, now that will be in GitHub. So this is what GitHub is, right? Now this is GitHub. Okay, now when you do, okay, when you want to check out, right, what you do is you can use git clone. That is the clone command. Okay, so now what you did was you checked out the remote repo. Okay, so you now this is called your local computer. Now you check out your code. Okay, or you can do, what you can do is you can do git fetch and also git checkout. Both are same. Okay, just FYI. Okay, anyway, you use git clone. That is the combination of both. Okay, now, and also pull. The clone is cloning the repo. Fetch is get the changes. Checkout is check out the changes. That is pretty much similar to this. Okay. Okay, now, so this is your GitHub repo. Okay, now that is called remote repository or the origin. Okay, now working directory means it's your local copy. That is called working directory or working copy. Now, once you pull the changes, right, from the remote server, that's only the time you can communicate to the remote repository. Otherwise, what you can do is you can kind of continue to work on your local repository or local working directory, the code, and then you can commit to your local repository. So you don't need to push it to the remote repository yet until you finish it, because your local remote repository have the capability to track your changes, to track whatever it is going on. It has all the history of it. So whenever you are comfortable, then you can push it to the remote repo. So till this time, you don't talk to the Git repo at all. So this is what local repository, this is what stage is called. So you stage the changes. When you do git add, right, what it is doing is it is preparing for the committing to local repo. Then you need to use the command git commit to track the version of the file. For example, you added 1.txt file, right? So by default, Git doesn't know. What you need to do is you need to say git add command. Then what it does is when you do git add, right, it will add some metadata associated to this file. So what is been happened to that file? So how many lines has been changed? So what has been the previous state of it? So it adds all the metadata. Then what you do is you commit the code to the local repo, so which is .git repo. So then now .git repo will have all the changes. So once you say, you know what, hey, my local repo, I am done with the code changes, then that time you will push that changes to the git push. Now git push will compare whatever the changes within the your local repo and whatever within the remote repo. Then it will compare. If there are no conflicts, it will merge it on the fast forward basis. If any conflicts, it will say, you know what, hey, I do some changes, conflicts, you know what, you don't have the up-to-date changes. What you need to do is you need to git pull first, or you need to git fetch and git checkout, and then resolve the conflicts, and then again git add, git commit, and then git push. That's the overall life cycle of the Git repositories. Is that clear?
So Guru, there could be a chance that in my pull call, right, and the local repo, there could be a difference.
Okay, then it will say you, okay, it will show you what is the difference. Okay, hey, there is a conflict, can you please go ahead and resolve it. Then it will so it will show you the complete message, which files are having conflicts, which file is different from the remote repo, and what has been changed. If there are no conflicts, what it will do is it will do the fast forward merge.
And then how do I get my working directory and local repository in sync?
How do you get working directory and
My local repository in sync?
Oh, this is always in sync. Your local repository is always in sync. So the local repository will be used for tracking your changes, and if you want to switch it to different branches and different things, that has been always tracked. Okay, the only thing, so the working directory changes are in your local repo. So what does that mean? What does that question mean? I mean, I did not get it.
So my example is that, I would have taken my local repo backup somewhere a week back.
Okay.
And then now once I'm getting a pull request would always be getting me the latest changes, right?
That's right. Okay, now that's correct.
Now there could be a gap between my local, if I go by your diagram, there could be a gap between the local repo and my working directory.
You were saying you back it up somewhere. No, that's not the case. So whatever in the local repo, that will only things will be in the working directory. Unless if you add some new files or something, right? Then it will show you, hey, there are some changes. Otherwise, it will have all the changes. Or the .git file is clever enough to show you what is different from your local repo and what are things are new from. So when you do git status, right? Okay, then it will tell you, so what is different in your working directory from the local repository. Are you getting my point?
So Guru, now my local repo was a week back, right?
Okay, a week back. Your local repo is 1 week back. Okay, now okay.
And in remote repository, about 10 people has made the changes.
Okay.
When I send my pull request, I'll be getting the latest files, right? Whereas my local repo would be having a stale data of 1 week back.
Okay. Now you need to push it. Okay.
These files are not the changes that I had made. These are the changes which other developers had made. I'm just going through your diagram. I'm not talking what happened.
Do one thing, right? So you can do one thing. Okay. So what it meant was very simple. Okay. So there are two ways you can do it, right? So if you want to get the changes from remote repo to your local repository, so your local repository one is the source of the truth, right? So what you can do is git fetch. So what it does is whatever the changes which has been done by the 10 developers will be put it to the local branch, okay? And then it's up to you if you want to get the changes to the working directory or not, okay? Or what else you can do is you can also get these changes, okay? Get the complete changes to the working directory and then commit to the local repository. You can do that too.
So what we are saying here is that pull would also be updating my local repository as well.
Yes, of
Leaving
course,
the conflicts side.
of course,
Okay.
of course it is. But if you don't want to pull it, right? If you don't want to changes to your working directory, there is one command called git fetch. It will only push it to your local repository. It will not push it to the working directory.
Yes, very clear.
If you want to compare it, so even because when you do git pull, right, it will, so what happens is when you do git pull, if there are no conflicts, what it will do is it will blindly go ahead and do the fast forward mess. Like if you 1000 files added, right, then it will go ahead and add it. So but if you don't want to add it blindly, if you want to compare it, what you can do is first you can get the changes to the local repo, fetch it, and then do git status and compare it, and then it will check out the changes. That is also possible. Okay, then next, right? So now let's talk about, we talked about git status, we talked about, okay, now git add. So if you want to go back to previous version, right, what you can do is you can use git checkout. Okay, that's one command. And also if you want to delete the file, you can use the git reset is the command. Okay, if you want to delete it, you can use git rm2. And git log is the command which you can see the history of the commands, history of the your logs. What else we discussed? Okay, so okay, now so we know, right, how to clone the repository from a remote repo, git clone and the URL. And if you want to specify the path, you can specify that too. And also if you want to see, okay, now let's look at this one, right? So if you do put a git remote, that will give you what is the remote repository you are working on. Okay, so now I'm working on github.com. okay, now next, if you want to see list of all branches in that repository, what you can do is git branch minus a. So now you can able to see all the branches. So these are the remote branches. Sometimes what you do is if you create a branch within the local system, if it's not in the report repo, it will not show here. Okay, always head is the master. Remember that.
Hey, Guru, is there any way that we can find out who are working on this present branch, present repository?
The only way is log. The only is whoever checked into this specific one, it will give you details.
Okay, okay, got it.
So now you see this guy is Praveen is checked into Praveen branch. Okay, now this guy is checked into Guru branch. So that will give you list of all the activity which is going on to the repo. Okay, now if we want to see the changes between the last version and current version, you can use the git diff. And git status, what is happened to the, I mean, this is specific to the file. Okay, file contents. And this one, what is happening with the directory, git repo. Okay, now you can do git add minus a. So for example, if you change hundreds of files, right, it's very hard to point to each file. So what you need to do is you need to use git add minus a. Okay, then what it does is it will add all the files and it will be ready for the committing. So now if you use git commit -m, then it will commit to your local repo. And if you have to push it to the remote repo, what you need to use, command called git push. So origin means this is the origin. So always whatever the origin means, so you see here, right? When you put git remote -v, you will see that. So the origin means where it is, where you check it out from. That's where the origin is all about. When you want to push it, right, you can push this way, git push origin, and whatever the branch you want to push it to, master or private. Okay, now everything is up to date. There's nothing to push. Okay, and that is, those are the two commands are very important in the GitHub life cycle. Now, as I told you, right, git fetch or also you can do is git pull. Both are same. Git fetch, git checkout, or git pull is the same commands. Okay, now coming back to the branching strategies, right? So let me show you the popular branching strategies in Git. So there's a one SCM one. I'll show that one actually. Okay. So okay, this one. Okay, anyway, this one I was referring to. So anyway, I'm going to discuss one branching strategy here. So this branching strategy is called Git branch flow. That is the very popular one. So what happened there is, so all the time master goes to the production, and if you have feature branches, right, or sprint branches or release branches, what you can do is you can develop the code until the feature is done, okay, and then merge it to the master. From master it will go to the production. We will version it and it will go to the production according to that release. Okay, that is called a Git branch flow. So in this case, master branch will be locked and all other branches will be created after the release or before the release or during the release. So for the continuous development, so development branch, that's the active development work will be happening. And any feature branch, that is the feature branch will be used to do the feature changes and then merge it to the master, and that will go to the production. That is called a Git branching flow. So there are another ways too, right? So what you can do is there are another branching strategy. I'll show that one. Okay, so you can do master branches, you can tag it and you can send it to the releases. And also similar case, right, this is what Git flow looks like. I mean the one I'm discussing about, right? So usually in master, right, master goes to production, you can tag it, or you can tag it, or you can create the release version from that specific hash and take that one to production. And if there are some hard fixes there, right, what happens is when you do the release from tag 01, you found some bugs, right? What you do is you create a hard fix and you again you release it and then you push it to the tag 2.2. so then now tag 2.2 will be released. So now this hard fix branch will be, once it is merged, it will be deleted. So you don't need to worry about that. Now if there is some parallelly people are working on development, right, once they're done with the development, what they can do is they will merge to master branch and they will take another tag and then they'll release it. Within the meantime, if someone says, hey, I got the release, right, so what they can do is once the release code is done, they can get the code and they can merge it to the master and they can create another tag and then that will be released. So any questions on the Git flow branching model?
So Guru, these branching thing for master is only for the releases which are in progression, right? What about if 5 releases? So my company maintains some versions and we have different clients on different releases. If some client has been on 3 releases back and we need to fix a patch for them.
So then what you do is you can check out the 3 branches back, right? For example, you need to check out that specific tag and then you create a hotfix branch and then you fix it and then you merge it. Or what you can do is in that case, right, you cannot merge it. That's a very good point actually. So your master branch is three releases faster, right? What you need to do is you can take this code and you can tag this hotfix branch and you can deploy to the production, and then you can create a pull request for the merging, because you cannot merge that one and then you cannot take the tag, because what happens is that is the up to date, right? So now what you need to do is you need to check out separate branch in that scenario, and then you can deploy that one to production, and then you can create a pull request to master branch. That is possible. That's what called hotfix branches. So those can goes to production as well.
Sure, thanks.
Any other questions? So, and there is some release flow. So what happens is master branch will be the active the main release, and some other releases can be deployed in different branches. So the master branch people can work continuously on development activities, and you create a release branch by the time it come to the release life cycle. For example, I'm working on one project, so this is my project development, and then if I planned release 1, right, I will create a release 1 branch, and what I will do is I will code on the release 1 branch, and then I will take that one to production. Okay, and then what I will do is I'll merge it to the master, and then I'll create the release 2 branch. So for example, if I have parallel release, right, what happens is I create a release 1 and I create a release 2, right? Then the release 1 goes to the production branch, and then release 2 is having some older code. What you need to do is you need to always get the latest code from master and merge it to the release branch, so that your code is always up to date. That is the release specific branching strategy. These are the 2 branching strategies which are very popular. Okay, and then again, if you have some merge conflicts, you need to merge it manually, or you can, if you don't want to merge it, you can do it later. Then you can do if you want to cancel it, you can do using merge abort. That is the command, you can use it. Okay, and then what else? This is same, I think we discussed about how to take the tag. This is where to take the tag. So you need to git tag whatever the hash you are now, or you can specify the tag to the hash to, and then this is where you tag your release. Okay, and once you create the tags, right, you need to push it to the remote repo. That's for example, if you want to do this one, right, let's see. Hyphen tags right here. Yeah. Now if you go here, you see now tags are been created here. Now I can take this one and then I can deploy to any release. Okay, you can create the tags from any branches, any branches or any hashtag. You can create that tagging. Okay, and also again, if you want to see the what is been merged, you can use the command called git branch hyphen merge. You can see the status of the branch. And if you want to delete the branch, you can use git branch -d. So if I want to delete the branch, right, you can use -d command, so that will be deleted. And same, if you want to whatever you deleted, if you want to push it, you want to delete it from the remote repo too, you can use -" delete that branch name, it will get deleted. So pretty much that's all about Git, guys. I gave some references. Okay, any questions?
When you try to delete, I think it gave you some error. Oh, you're not in that direction.
No, because I'm on the active branch, that's why it cannot delete it.
Oh, okay, got it.
Because if you delete it, it can be deleted. I mean, I'm on the same branch, right? When you open the file and if you try to delete, it will not be possible. So, but if you do,
so you should not be on the same branch when you delete it, right?
Yeah, you cannot be same because it's the same as when you open the file, you cannot delete it. It's the same way. So,
Yeah.
any questions on the Git or GitHub, guys?
So you were mentioning something about the header.
Head,
I think,
yes.
right.
So head is always the master.
Is there somewhere a reference document or place where we can read about master? These are new terminologies, terms.
Sure. I'll share with you because I have a lot in Git, so I can share all the URLs for you. Then you can learn about it. Yeah, I'll share with you. Okay. So I mean, I'll share with this session. I'll share your notes actually with all these links because I provided some here at the bottom, and I will create a few more links and then I'll send it over.
And probably the last question from my side. If you can throw light on GitHub versus Bitbucket. These
Those
are
are
the two most popular, right?
Yes. So both are pretty much serve the same purpose. Bitbucket is owned by Atlassian, so they host the services on their cloud and their data centers. And GitHub, I believe it is been funded by the open source community initially, and now it's owned by Microsoft. But the if you want in past, right, if you want to get a private repo, I mean public repos or private repos in Bitbucket, it was not possible because it's a proprietary. But with GitHub, you can launch open source projects without any money, and also you can create some private repositories if you're working on some. So it is kind of more flexibility and more features, right? That's the only thing I see. Other than that, both are pretty much same. Atlassian also do good because we use Bitbucket, pretty much same features and same everything. The only is two different companies who manages the Git servers. That's it. But GitHub is the more popular comparatively Bitbucket. Other than that, I don't see any changes because if you want to look at it, Bitbucket versus GitHub, even if I'm pretty much sure. I mean, they say okay, people has different opinion, right? So if you are using the online version of enterprise version of it, so both comes with both pros and cons. But anyway, end of the day, the way the code review tools associated to that, the pull request, and the way they label the projects or whatnot, syntax highlighting, so these are very pretty much UI specific examples. You can go ahead and read this one, but there's no specific in terms of technology wise. Everything is how they do the stuff more fancier than other. So any other questions? No, pretty much same. The way you create the branches, the plans, something, anything, I mean everything, but the technology is same. Nothing changes behind the scenes. The only thing is the UI and how you deal with the branches, how you deal with the access control list, as I told you earlier, right? How you deal with the pull request, how do you deal with the creating new branches, how easy it is, how fast you can access it, how the availability, how the enterprise software installation process is, which one is easier, which one is harder to manage. So those terminology is needed. Other than that, pretty much everything is same. So any other questions, guys?
And do this Git allows to upload any sort of files, or it's only the text files?
Any sort of files, anything. You can upload anything, but if it is larger than 1 GB or something, I believe it wants you. But the recommendation is only use the code files to upload. Code are only project specific, not for the artifacts, not for the war files, CR files, and something, or jar files. Those can be go in Artifactory or Nexus or something. Any files you can share with any files, any kind of files. There's no restriction there. So any other question, guys? Randir, Sweta, Praveen?
No, I'm good, Guru.
Okay, anyway, I'll send out the recorded video. Hopefully, I can cut it out, the communication between Praveen and myself, because it's useless. So, and then I will send it over after minor changes. Other than that, any other question, guys? And Praveen, is there?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? So don't worry about anything. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Rajesh, or even if you want to, even personal clarification from me, you can always talk to me. I can give my mobile number. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so there are a lot of people. So I tried to cover like basic stuff. I thought we discussed in between, and then we went in different route. Okay. And sorry for that. Anyway, for you, some of you folks, have a nice day, and some of you folks, a good night. If you don't have any questions, I'll wrap it up for today.
Thank you, Guru.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.